All right, guys, lots of talk about the snow back in Athens, but here in Myrtle Beach right now, I mean, it's as good as it gets. We've got palm trees, the sun's out, I'm wearing short sleeves. It's late November in South Carolina. Ohio men's basketball also here took on Middle Tennessee State earlier today in the Myrtle Beach Invitational, looking to get back on track after dropping 3 of its first 4 games of the season. When's the last time you were his coach?
Oh, man. You know, growing up, I was always gone, so I couldn't really coach him. But I would step in every now and then and coach practices.
Probably the most famous goal in this program's history. Not many people could say they were on SportsCenter top 10. What was that experience like?
It was very surreal, and I think that whole week was surreal honestly, because we had a whole week off of school. We didn't come home.
Can you just talk to me a little bit about offensive line technique? I think a lot of our viewers know offensive linemen as the really big, just tall guys to protect the quarterback. Just what really goes into it that the average fan might not see?
It's a lot harder than people think. Playing left tackle, my quarterback's right-handed, so protecting his blind side, he can't see where my guy's coming. And being out on an island on pass pro and trying to move a guy every single play of the game is a lot harder than people think.
The landscape of college athletics is ever-changing, but perhaps one of the biggest shakeups of them all becomes official in 24 hours. The UC Bearcats and the rest of the Big 12 are set to welcome Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah to the conference. Yeah, look, I don't have to be the one to tell you. We're getting hurricane remnants right now, and it's certainly affected this conference. First week of conference play scheduled to begin tonight in a different-looking season for the FAC. Now, more on that in a second. 3 games got pushed back to tomorrow. Bring your coffee to Miami Trace bright and early. Their game starts at 10 a.m. An hour later, Washington and Chillicothe, both 0-5, which means one of these teams, they're going to get a win tomorrow. Finally, Jackson heads up to McLean to take on McLean at noon. They're going to need a bounce back after that shocking loss to Ross last week. We mentioned this year's interesting for the FAC, and that's because it's vastly different than 2023. Get this, 5 teams made the playoffs. 4 of them finished over 500. This year, though, only 2 teams are above 500 currently. Still, plenty of chances for these teams to get wins against each other. One of those chances is for Hillsborough to ride into Miami Trace and grab a win, which is where we were supposed to be tonight. But regardless of weather or time, this game's going to have a lot of points scored. Get this, Hillsborough dropped a whopping 65 points last week, while Miami Trace scored 56 themselves. Both teams have put up over 30 points in 7 of their combined 10 games this season. Hey, it's not too early to think about playoffs either, right? Well, according to Drew Pastor, you can expect Miami Trace to host a playoff game with a win tomorrow. For Hillsborough, a win gives them a 50-50 shot to get in. It's a story for a lot of our teams, but man, it's a bummer. We'll have to wait another day for this one. Ohio has rattled off 5 straight wins to get to the MAC championship game, but its last loss back in October was perhaps the most painful and the spark that started this run. Ohio fell to its rival Miami, Ohio in Oxford in a game that quarterback Parker Navarro struggled in. He's been a different player since, and so has the entire offense. In the team's final 3 games of the regular season, they averaged 33 points per game, second in the MAC during that time frame. No doubt, this game was a turning point in Ohio's season.
I think it lit a fire under us. We knew, the talk was if we want to go to the championship, we got to win out. And that's exactly what we did. We won every game, and now we're in a position where we're going to the championship.
The disappointment after that game in October was felt through the locker room from the staff to the players.
Disappointed for sure. Gave up too many points. A few big plays just simple stuff. It was us. Nothing they were a good football team, but nothing they were doing that we couldn't have stopped. It was our fundamentals. It goes back to the basics. We just did not play well enough to win today.
They're disappointed. They're down. They feel like they've let down an alumni base that put so much into this game.
Before the 2 teams met in the regular season, signs were posted throughout Peayden Stadium to remind the Bobcats what Miami took from them last year. For the veterans on this team, they've seen their ups and downs through this rivalry and feel the hatred that's built this rivalry over the last century.
Yeah, we have a rule in our locker room, no red in the locker room. So, when they got a bunch of Miami signs, especially that MAC championship Miami sign, that really sparks a fire.
Revenge is on Ohio's mind, there's no doubt about it.
Couldn't have been a better thing to happen, honestly. Could not have been better. You got anything?
I agree.
Yeah, going for a ring and a mug. So
yeah. One day at a time, but yeah, now we're coming.
Yeah.
For a program that hasn't won a conference title since 1968, a coach that's 0-7 on staff in MAC championship games, and a team that fell to its arch rival, there isn't a more poetic way for a team to exercise demons and hoist a trophy and bring it back to its rightful home in Southeast Ohio.
Yeah, there hasn't been an FAC game at this level in quite some time, maybe even ever, but yeah, we're hyping up this game and it's for good reason. That reason, Jackson has run the FAC since its inception in 2017. How about this? There's only been 2 years Jackson hasn't won the title. Miami Trace is on a 6-game win streak, though, and has a chance to control its own destiny for the conference crown with a win tonight. Want to talk about just how much it would mean to the Panthers? They haven't won any conference title since 2005.
Wow. So I know you went to practices at Miami Trace and Jackson. What was that atmosphere like?
Yeah, Miami Trace, I'm going to tell you this right now. I've never heard the term locked in more than when I went to that practice. But as for the Ironmen, it was all business, and they know they have to protect what's theirs with an FAC title.
We're on 3 straight wins right now, 3 state conference championships. We know it runs through us, and we're proud of that. You know, that's part of our mentality every season. Our #1 team goal is we're going to win the FAC.
Now this begs the question, would this game live up to the hype? Simply put, it did. Jackson's first drive, ball's out. Cooper Enix cribs it to get the scoring started early. Panthers up 7-zip. Next drive, Bodie Wolford airs it out. It's caught. Ryan Simons from one end of the field to the other. Turn on the Jets. Man, he's having a heck of a junior season. Now it's 7-all. Fast forward, second quarter, Trey Robinette dots his man up. He makes the play. Goodness gracious, Miami Trace goes ahead 14-10. Jackson was not going to stay silent long. Right before half, Wolford finds his man, Gavin Jones. It's a foot race. Jackson went for 2, didn't get it, so it's 16-14. Feeling pretty good before the half, right? Not so fast. Austin Brown, don't give him space because he will fly. He finds open space, and what a juke move from the young man. Special teams matter, y'all. Miami Trace up heading into half 21-16. I don't know what happened in Jackson's locker room, but it certainly helped. They flipped the script in the second half. Nolan Johnson keeping it on the ground. Not 1, but 2 touchdowns in the half. 22-21, then 29-21. Ironman's starting to pull ahead. When in doubt, Wolford's going to air that thing out. Gavin Jones again. 2 TD game for him. Now Jackson's really up, 36-21. Miami Trace still showing some fight, though. Enix scoring TDs on both sides of the ball tonight. Panthers still alive, down 36-27. Next drive, it's time to close the door. Another TD won't hurt as Jackson takes it 43-27.
My goodness, Grant, what a game. 43 points for Jackson against Miami Trace. That's absurd. How'd they get it done?
Yeah, look, it was mostly due to the man under center. This guy right here. Yeah, Bodie Wolford, he was electric tonight. He made some extremely confident throws downfield against the Miami Trace defense that hasn't seen an aerial attack like this all year. However, some love needs to be shown to Nolan Johnson. It felt like watching vintage Jackson football. That second half, putting it on the ground. Overall, impressive offensive performance.
All right, so you told me that both coaches said a hot start was key to winning this one. How did Miami Trace fall behind?
It was kind of a tale of 2 halves for the Panthers. I think Jackson's intensity on defense surprised him coming out of half. You had Wolford and Simons laying down the law on defense, too. Only 6 points in the second half. It can't be understated enough. Impressive effort.
Yeah, and you talked about how it felt like 2 different halves. So what did Jackson use to its advantage in the second?
Yeah, I told you guys that it felt like old school smash mouth Jackson football in that second half, and it's because they fed Johnson the rock almost every play. He kept the ball inbounds, let that clock run, tick, 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 keeping the Ironman defense on the field in the process. Man, what a performance right before the playoffs from Jackson. He might be back.
Welcome back. I'm Grant Kiefer. Look, tough first game for Ohio football, week 1 at Syracuse, but they rebounded well, and the Bobcats got their first win of the season Saturday against South Alabama. The main takeaway, it felt like this was the coming out party for the offense. Fans showed out for the home opener at Pete, and Bobcats leading 3-0 after 1. They put together a strong drive to start the second. Who else to cap it off but Anthony Tyus III? 3 touchdowns on the year for him. They're up 10-0. South Alabama, they scored a lot week 1, so you knew they were going to respond. Fluff both well. Takes it to the house, 10-10 right before half. But hey, who says the Bobcats can't run a 2-minute drill? That is Chase Hendricks taking it into the house, 17-10. Ohio still in the lead. Bobcats getting the ball to start the third. And Parker Navarro have a day. Over 200 yards in the air. He adds a touchdown on the ground. 24-10. Ohio is rolling. Fast forward, fourth quarter. South Alabama's out of timeouts. All Ohio needs is 1 first down to seal it, and they got it. You saw so many different players contribute. Safe to say, South Alabama had a handful to deal with.
You just look at it from South Alabama's perspective. Okay, we gotta corral Trey, and we gotta know where 6 is, Coleman. And the ball got distributed, Ricky had the long run early, and Trey got enough done in there. So the ball did get spread around. I think it's going to continue to do that, and that those numbers will grow.
The quiet part of the college basketball offseason is just about over, and Ohio men's basketball just released its non-conference slate, which should present some challenges. Bobcats open the season on the road in the first game of the MAC Sunbelt Challenge against JMU. Home opener at the Combo will be November 9th against UNC Asheville, with a game the following week against Penny Hardaway and Memphis. Can't forget the Myrtle Beach Invitational either, which starts against MTSU and is part of ESPN's Feast Week. Important to mention here on the back half of the slate that the MAC Sunbelt game in February is TBD and will be chosen off RPI mid-season. Big weekend for Ohio field hockey up in Michigan as the team brought home couple of wins, including a stunner against a Big Ten foe yesterday. Bobcats got things started Saturday afternoon against a struggling Vermont squad and capitalized, but needed overtime to do so. Sophomore Natalie LaFleur sent the Catamounts packing with a goal in the third overtime, her second on the season. The aforementioned second game also needed overtime to decide it. Bobcats facing Michigan State, and this is a nuke plan, winning it for Ohio. Fly the MAC flag, 2-0 on the weekend. Their home opener is coming up next weekend. First road trip of the year for Ohio volleyball wrapping up this weekend down in North Carolina. They took down the host High Point on Friday night. Bobcats turned around to face Mercer on Saturday as they were too much to handle. Bobcats split the weekend at 1-1.